economy has been able to stabilize itself, which has changed American spending. As you can see, people have been able to move away from purchasing solely necessities to being able to purchase leisure and luxury items.
These two graphs compare an average American family spending from 1900 to 1950. As you can see, the 1950s shows a significant amount of growth in spending in luxuries and entertainment.
Just over the past year, 17,153,000 people have attended a Major League Baseball game.
Even President Truman attended games. In other news, tensions between the Soviet Union and the United States are continuing to grow in space exploration. In 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik 1 into orbit and Sputnik 2 shortly after, but this time with a dog on board. The dog's name was Lakia, who had sensors attached to her to determine if space exploration would be safe enough for humans. However, shortly after Sputnik's 2 launch, the Soviets announced they did not establish a plan to ensure Lakia's survival nor make any effort to do so. You heard it right, Americans. The Soviets willingly sent an innocent dog into space, knowing it would not just survive, just to make them seem better than us. In response to these launchings, President Eisenhower ordered for the U.S. to take action. Explorer 1 was launched in 1958, which successfully reached satellite. Also in 1958, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, better known as NASA, was formed, showing the devotion the U.S. had in space exploration. Although the Soviets started out strong, the U.S. has made substantial advancements, and before we know it, man might just be in space. This is the last picture of Lakia. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Would you like to purchase more sweatshirts to benefit charity?
How much are these?
They're $15.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I don't have enough. Sorry.
Do you hate carrying cash around and don't want to be like the man you just saw in our commercial? We have a solution for you. Open a credit card with our accounts today. The money is in your account, so you do not need to carry cash, and this money can even be charged so you can pay in future installments. To set up your account today, call the number below. We'll be happy to set you up. American Express. Don't leave home without it.
Do you live in a house with a nice picket fence outside, with your wife inside cooking dinner, and your kids playing out in the yard? We have something to tell you. You're conforming to American society. Let's take a look.
Here you have your basic suburban neighborhood doing basic everyday stuff. Why would you want this to be you? America was formed to be bold and be yourself, but now we would not be able to tell ourselves apart from our neighbors. Things need to change.
With many Americans recently returning home from war and becoming employed, the country has seen a rise in the formation of workers going on strike and forming unions. During the war, many Americans expressed their patriotism by not striking and working hard to ensure that they were producing the most supplies in the world for our soldiers. However, since wartime production has died down and workers are now demanding better wages, benefits, and working conditions, because many workers feel as though this demand is not being met, they are going on strike, especially in the coal, steel, mine, and railroad industries, which is threatening our country's prospering economy. In response, Senator Robert Taft has proposed the Taft-Hartley Act, which will give more power to the president of the unions and the owners of business, with the intention to prevent future strikes. President Truman seems to be on board with this proposal, as he recently threatened workers on strike that he will draft them and send them as soldiers to return to work.
Here is a picture of workers on strike fighting for the right to form unions.
We are here today with Dr. Benjamin Spock in his recently published book, Baby and Childcare. Thank you for coming on to the show today.
No problem, it is my pleasure.
For our viewers who don't know, would you mind talking about your newest novel?
Yes, I actually brought along a copy with me today, but over my lifetime, and especially recently, I've become quite disgusted with the way parents are choosing to raise their children. Using the strict, unaffectionate methods influenced by doctors and society have destroyed the once loving relationships that parents once shared with their children. Having a child should be a beautiful and life-changing experience in a positive way, and these new methods are destroying these values. So to answer your question, in my novel I offered my advice and expertise on childhood development that promotes the loving relationship that needs to be restored in this country.
You said you were planning on offering advice to parents. What kind of advice do you plan on giving them?
My most important message in the novel is for young parents to trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. Do not get me wrong, raising a child is no easy task at all. However, with that being said, I think parents often rely too much on outside sources and those with authority to form their parental methods, which is harmful because each child is unique and certain methods that work for others may not necessarily work for your child. So I believe that parents should not underestimate their own abilities and should look to themselves before anyone else when deciding on ways to raise their own children. And most importantly, we must focus and ensure that we remind our children how much we love them, because I believe this value is fading away.
What influence do you believe society and people with authority have on new parents?
I believe that society promotes a sense of strictness that is unnecessary in our home. To me, sticking to the same routines and doing so in a strict manner only could form our children to all be the same. We must learn to see the individualism and uniqueness our child pose, which will help us become better parents in forming our relationships.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Spock.
No problem. It was my pleasure.